is dedicated to all those athletes who have ever worn the red and black for Georgia. To all those who shared the victories, the defeats, the glory, and tradition during 100 years of football at the University of Georgia. A chemistry professor introduced football to Georgia, Dr. Charles Hurty. And on January 30th, 1892, he arranged for a team from Mercer to come to the Georgia campus to play the very first game of football ever played in the Deep South. It was also Dr. Hurty who 3 weeks later launched the oldest rivalry in the Deep South when he set up the first game between Georgia and Auburn at Piedmont Park in Atlanta. Georgia and Tech played their first game in 1893, and the intensity of play sparked what was to become one of the most intense in-state rivalries in the country. Under the guidance of Coach Pop Warner in 1896, Georgia fielded its first undefeated team. But it was W.A. Cunningham who gave the Bulldogs their first sustained winning streak. Beginning in 1910, he led his teams to more victories than losses 7 of the 8 seasons he served as Georgia's head coach. And it was under his tutelage that Bob McWhorter earned All-American honors in 1913, Georgia's first athlete to receive this recognition and the first to be inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame. H.J. Stegman, the great all-around athlete from the University of Chicago, coached outstanding teams at Georgia in 1920, 1921, and 1922. And his undefeated 1920 outfit claimed the Southern Championship. George Kid Woodruff, captain and star quarterback on the 1911 Georgia team, made a great contribution to the Bulldog program as coach from 1923 to 1927. Kid Woodruff, a wealthy Columbus businessman, coached the Bulldogs for $1 per year. Meir took over with a less than impressive start in 1928, winning but 4 of 9 games. The Meir years were characterized by highs and lows, but his 10 years as coach produced 4 teams that contended strongly for the conference championship in 1930, 1931, 1933, and 1934. Had there been as many postseason games as today, these teams probably would have been invited to play in a bowl game. And he coached 5 All-Americans, 2 of whom have been inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame. Fullback Bill Hartman and the illustrious Catfish Smith, remembered as the opportunistic player who contributed to the upset of Yale in 1929 during the dedicatory game for Sanford Stadium. From that point on, Georgia would forever be big league. There might be some down times and lean years with some of its teams, but with a brand new $300,000 stadium, one of the finest college stadiums in the nation, the Bulldogs were unquestionably in the big time. Now, Georgia could have a hometown advantage over Tech, at least some of the time. In 1939, James Wallace Butts signed on as head coach with a mandate to bring Georgia a championship, which he did 4 times in his years at the helm, in 1942, 46, 48, and 59. The Orange Bowl was in its infancy when Coach Butts took the 1941 team to Miami to face Texas Christian in the Bulldogs' first New Year's Day encounter. Records were set that have never been broken, and Georgia won 40-26. By 1942, the Bulldogs had arrived in football, even though America was at war. Losing only to Auburn during the season play, they were ranked second in the nation as the team traveled across country to California and the Rose Bowl. Frank Sinkwich had just been awarded the prestigious Heisman Trophy, Georgia's first player to receive this honor, and he was on his way to becoming the first Bulldog ever to repeat as an All-American. In between workouts for their game against Pacific Coast champion UCLA, team members took in all the sights of Hollywood and were entertained by movie stars such as Spencer Tracy, Susan Hayward, Ginger Rogers, and Bob Hope. With 2 sprained ankles, Sinkwich scored the only touchdown in the Rose Bowl that New Year's Day, but rode the bench most of the game, while sophomore Charlie Trippi took over at tailback. In 1946, most of the players were back from World War II, and Georgia fielded an outstanding team. With All-American Charlie Trippi back at tailback, the Bulldogs finished a perfect season as SEC champions, ranked 3rd nationally, topped off with a 20-10 win over North Carolina in the Sugar Bowl. The 1948 championship was one of Georgia's biggest surprises. After an early season defeat by North Carolina, the Bulldogs went through their SEC schedule with ease. It was a team of great backs and a large stable of fleet runners. In many respects, the 1959 comeback year turned out to be Butt's greatest year. Nobody expected much from this 11, ranked at the bottom of the conference heap in preseason. Led by All-American quarterback Fran Tarkenton, the Dogs defeated Auburn by 1 point to clinch the SEC title. They went on to beat Tech 21-14 and whipped Missouri in the Orange Bowl 14-0. At season's end, Georgia had won 7 league games and was ranked 5th in the nation by both polls. By the time Butt stepped down as head coach in 1960 to become athletic director, his lifetime record, including bowls, was 140, 86, and 9. 12 of his players made All-American. Trippi had been inducted into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame, and Trippi, Sinkwich, and Fran Tarkenton all have been inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame. The most successful coach in Georgia history is unquestionably Georgia's athletic director, Vince Dooley. In his 25 seasons as head coach, he took his teams to 20 bowl games and compiled an overall record of 201, 77, and 10. When Vince Dooley was brought in as Georgia's new head coach in December 1963, he was a freshman coach from arch-rival Auburn and a complete neophyte at the varsity level. Not exactly the name coach the alumni had in mind. But his first season, Georgia received a bid to play in the postseason Sun Bowl game, and 2 out of the next 4 seasons earned the SEC championship title. The first SEC title was won in 1966. It was cinched in Auburn with 3 touchdowns in the second half to win the ball game 21-13. The second title was won by the 1968 team, following an undefeated season. Defensive tackle Bill Stanfield played a big role that season and was awarded the Outland Trophy as the most outstanding interior lineman in the nation. Stanfield is the only Georgia lineman ever to receive this singular recognition. The 1976 team will be remembered for its shaved heads. It became the Bulldogs' trademark, a show of strength. And it worked. The 1976 team topped off a 10-2 season with big wins over Auburn and Tech, the SEC championship title, and a bid to the Sugar Bowl. Nobody could have foreseen what would happen in the 80s. The combined efforts of Dooley's 1980, 1981, and 1982 teams reached levels of achievement no Georgia players have accomplished before or since. 3 back-to-back SEC championships. These teams were helped in no small measure by Georgia's second Heisman Trophy winner, Herschel Walker, the running back whose feats were to be so phenomenal, an entire page in Georgia's media guide would be set aside for his college career stats. While Herschel was unquestionably the centerpiece, these were solid football teams, and it was the commitment and effort executed by every player that propelled these teams to the top of the SEC 3 years running. But it was the wondrous year of 1980 that will forever be a crown jewel of Georgia history. In 1980, the Bulldogs had a perfect, unbeaten, and untied season. In 1980, the Bulldogs did it one more time in the Sugar Bowl at New Orleans, beating Notre Dame and winning Georgia's first national championship. In 1980, the Bulldogs were #1, the best of the best in the nation. It was Georgia's greatest moment. By the time Dooley stepped down as head coach after the 1988 season, he had coached 33 All-Americans and seen his teams earn 6 SEC titles and 1 national championship. 77 of his players were named to the academic All-SEC team. He was named SEC Coach of the Year 7 times and NCAA National Coach of the Year in 1980. All in all, a record that will stand as a touchstone for Georgia coaches throughout the next 100 years and for centuries to come. Throughout the last 100 years, football has provided the Georgia Bulldogs, players and fans alike, with never-to-be-forgotten moments of glory.
Clock running. Oh, look at the sugar falling out of the sky. Look at the sugar falling out of the sky.
Matt Robinson fakes, end around to Appleby. Appleby's going to throw a bomb. He's got a man open down on the far side. Complete. A long touchdown. A touchdown. Let's get down. He picks it up. It looks good. Watch it. Watch it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Marshall in motion right. Rodney jumps. Touchdown! Lewis the snap. Interception. Casey lets it fly.
The 40, the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20. Scott Warner coming this way. Touchdown! Touchdown! We hand it off to Herschel. There's a hole. 5, 10, 12. He's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker. They pitch it to Rogers. He cuts in. He fumbled the ball. It popped. It's still rolling. Georgia jumps on the ball. Buck back, third down on the 8. In trouble. Got a block behind him. Gonna throw and a run. Complete to the 25, to the 30. Lindsey's got 35, 40. Lindsey's got 45, 50, 45, 40. Run, Lindsey. 25, 20, 50, 10, 5. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. I broke my chair. I came right through a chair.
The University of Georgia in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl playing this team called Notre Dame, who on paper was supposed to beat us about 50-0. They were the biggest team we've ever seen in our whole entire life.
The Notre Dame defense, one of the very best in the country. It was a tough defensive football team. Great linebackers, great defensive tackles, and we were able to rip it. But it was mistakes, and we had the luck of the Irish, the Georgia Irish, I guess, that day.
When the Georgia Dogs take the field, they're going to play as a unit. They're going to play as a unit so hard where you have to be one tough team to break any link in that chain. And I think we proved it. Everyone played hard. You know, we played so tough.
To be there at the end of the game and to know that your team is going to be named national champions is an experience that nobody will ever forget.
Throughout the evening, we have been tracing Georgia football history by looking at some of the great coaches, teams, players, and plays from 1892 through 1988. But for the last 3 years, since 1989, all loyal Bulldogs have been participating in or watching the real thing, Georgia History Live, as Coach Ray Goff and his players set Operation Turnaround in motion and steadfastly fought their way through adversity, as Georgia coaches and players have done since time immemorial. By the end of December, the Bulldogs had turned things around. They had won 9 games, defeating big rivals, Clemson, Auburn, and Georgia Tech, and had won in Georgia's 30th bowl appearance. Because of the success of Operation Turnaround, Georgia football is on the rise again. For the next 2 years, we need to keep our eyes on some of Georgia's rising young players who have the potential to earn a place in the future annals of Georgia history. Georgia's immediate future looks bright, and so should the next 100 years. Bulldogs everywhere, players and fans alike, can rest assured that somewhere, right now, there are young bullpups dreaming of a time in the not-too-distant future when they, too, can carry on the winning Georgia traditions, when they, too, can proudly wear the red and black for Georgia.